computer. 3, 2, 1, go.
Hello. This is a running champion of predictions, Ignacy from Portal Games.
And this is the Podfather of Gaming, Stephen Buonocore. You are listening to episode 223. We're recording this on January 16th, 2022. Board Games Insider is a proud member of the Dice Tower Network. And Tom Vassell got a tattoo. A tattoo. I've avoided this for 60 years, and now my arch nemesis of gaming has done something that I have not done. I'm so upset. Do I need a tattoo now, Ignacy? And if I get a tattoo, what should it be? Oh, how about a big heart on my chest? And in the center, it says, Tom.
I think that would be sweet. That's a great idea. But on the other hand, now Tom has his style tattoo. You have your own style, a Corvette. I think everyone is happy. So
that's a good idea. Maybe I just ignore the whole thing until he buys a Corvette. Then I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'd have to do that. Anyway, buddy, it's good to see you again. Recording a little late this time, but busyness and things like that. So very important. You've got some great stuff happening at Portal Games, and I love the news about Gutenberg. So tell us about it.
Yeah, we have a brand new step for the company. We announced this a couple of days ago. Portal Games to co-publish the English edition of Gutenberg. So for years, Portal Games was publishing our own designs, in-house designs. And now we are stepping the new direction, something that you did great as a Stronghold Games, that is looking for the best designs from Europe and signing them for the North American market. And Gutenberg is the first game that we signed. It is created by the Polish designers. It is created by the Polish company called Granma, veterans of the industry. They are in the industry for many, many years. They are also manufacturer in Europe. And Gutenberg is one of the hottest games of past Essen. It was sold out in the first days of Essen, and we paid attention to that. Like you did in the past, and we contacted them, reached them. We see the Gutenberg is super hot. We would like to discuss bringing it to the North America. And here we are, a month later, we can announce that this is happening. The game is right now in the production. So yes, we are very proud to say that around March or April, depending on the logistics problems, as you guys know, there is a lot of problems. We will release our not in-house design, but the game that we love, that we appreciate, that we respect, and we want to bring to North America. And it is Gutenberg from Granma. So yeah.
And I have to comment. First of all, thank you for the compliment that I was doing that. And it worked out very well.
Right?
Yeah, sure. Finding those great things published in other languages and bringing them basically English worldwide, usually, but definitely to North America. So you obviously have co-published games, but you've done Polish editions of English or German games and things like that. So you've done just that. Now it is a different direction. You're grabbing an English version. You're going to grab the game, make the English version, and put it in the English-speaking countries, or at least in North America, right? So that's a different direction and very cool. So congratulations on that.
This is super exciting. We build a great distribution. Luke Otwinowski, our lab operation, is working at Portal Games USA since 2018. This is a fourth year. He built a great network, and now when we are reaching European publishers, European creators, we can offer them a great distribution, great promotion, great marketing. And Gutenberg is, as I said, the first. This is not the only, it's the first that we announce. In upcoming weeks and months, we will announce more interesting games to bring. So the catalog of Portal Games for North America will now be in-house designs and one of the best European games out there. So I'm very proud. Of course, the press release, some photos and more information you can find at portalgamesus.com to learn more about that. Brag of the week. Yesterday I was part of the online convention from our friends Rolling Dice and Taking Names. They held an online convention and I was invited. You were supposed to be there, but there was not perfect timing for us to meet. So I was representing Board Games Insider and Portal Games, and I invited Danielle Standring. She's working for Portal Games US as a marketing, and we challenged Rolling Dice and Taking Names, and I'm happy to say that I represented us greatly. We just destroyed them. Everyone knows I don't speak English, but I win games, and of course Danielle was an amazing partner, and she was able to pull off the victory, even though she was giving clues to somebody. I was literally, guys, you need to watch it on Twitch. I was literally using Google Translate to check the words, to check the meaning of the words, to understand the clues. It was hilarious.
Oh, that's
and
great.
Still, we won the game.
That's great. But first of all,
So this is my brag of the week.
Big shout out to Danielle. She's amazing. Really, really great person. I was supposed to be there, but my entire day yesterday, I was big fun stuff I did all day. I went to a play. I went to a hockey game yesterday. Hockey, awesome.
I love it.
So go ahead, man. It was. I just could not make it. Sorry.
My pre-orders in 3 days. Gutenberg just mentioned is on pre-order right now. You can grab 2 additional characters and the tiles and have a free shipping. So go to portalgamesus.com and grab it. We mentioned many times in this podcast the print runs these days are very, I would say, limited because you never know if you have too much or too low. So pre-order, secure your copy before it's too late, before it's sold out. The game will be released and will be shipped to you in March, so very, very soon. So Gutenberg on pre-order with additional tiles and free shipping. And what's happening at HQ? Of course, preparation for the PortalCon. I mentioned here in Poland, we are doing all the jazz, all the scene, all the Steve Jobs keynote style. So super big preparations. We have the whole stadium for us, so it'll be epic. And for the English-speaking audience, for our fans in America and in Europe, we are going to announce a new title or new news item every Monday. So check out portalgamesus.com every Monday, or listen to Port Games Insider to hear it from me. For upcoming weeks, there's a ton of new announcements from us. My video of the week, top 10 most important industry news of 2021. I checked the show notes from our podcast. It's a great tool that we have here in Google Docs. And I picked the 10 most important, in my opinion, and I recorded video about that. So you can check out on my YouTube channel. Basically, super busy time and a lot of great news here in America and for Polish fans as well. So good opening of the year here at Portal Games.
Excellent. So, we're recording this after we did our predictions episode. So there was so much going on between New Year's and now. Just personally for me, over the New Year's Eve and day, Paula and I just spent time gaming, lots of gaming. Sadly, gaming on this little table because my game table is on its way now from Game Theory Tables. I'm going to give them a shout out. I can't wait for this table to show up because it's so cool. I'll do a video on it because it's so beautiful when I get it. But we did the 12 games of New Year's, and we just played like 12 different games. And you can see it all on the Podfather of Gaming group on Facebook. I hope you all out there will join that. It's just a fun group where we just post funny things, keep things positive. Just go check it out. You'll see all my posts that we made. I made one post for each one of the games that we played, and it was great, and pictures and just a lot of fun. Remodeling, Ignacy, I am sorry to tell you that things are starting to move again. The first floor again done. It's amazing. It looks great. And now the second floor, we had setbacks, but the countertops are all done. All the mirrors are done. 2 mirrors came cracked. Got a mirror, cracked, sent it back. Another mirror came, cracked. Well, not sent it back, just threw it out, and they send you another one. It was unbelievable. Finally,
don't you have these stickers? Fragile. Be careful. Like
yes. Yes, and they still because these idiot shippers, and it came United States, postal system, not even FedEx or UPS. For whatever reason, it was shipped that way. A bit cheaper, I guess, for the shipper. Who knows? But cracked, call them. Send another one. Cracked, call them. And we needed 3. It was good 3 mirrors in the bathroom, all the same. So the first shipment came with one of those cracked. So we said, give us another one. The second shipment came, cracked. Third one, finally, we had all 3 mirrors. They look fantastic. The countertops look great.
For this company, it was great savings to send these all mirrors again and again and again. Choosing the cheapest shipping method. Yeah. So a great business idea.
What a great idea, right? Just crazy. The cabinets are now mostly in. The doors are not quite finished. The hardware needs to be put. But the biggest thing is that all the other doors upstairs. So I have no door on the bathroom. It's just the main part of the bathroom. The stalls got a door, but the main part, the shower area and the everything, no door. And the bedroom doors upstairs have to be changed now. So all of these are on back order. probably another 6 weeks or something until we get them. But we're getting there. We're getting there. Progress. My outdoor kitchen looks amazing. We're just still waiting for the electrical hookup on the stuff. We got all the furniture now, loungers, bar stools. Going to do some great entertaining very soon. We're just waiting on the fire pit to come in, and which is not the heat, but just for prettiness and stuff like that. All the cons are, of course, done now. And, took a short trip up to Orlando, a little road trip. Went with our good friends, Rod and Carrie, and we went to Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure. Really fun up there. Disney gets all the buzz, in Orlando, but Universal is very cool as well. The Harry Potter stuff is amazing. The Marvel area is amazing. The Jurassic Park is great. Velocicoaster. If anybody's into roller coasters, Velocicoaster is the single best roller coaster I've ever ridden. I'm not a connoisseur, but I like my roller coasters. It's brilliant. The way that it whips around and you're upside down, and it's just so amazing. So if you ever get a chance, do the...
For those of you who wonder, yes, I am afraid of roller coasters.
What a shock. He's afraid of everything. Planes, what else? Boats? You afraid of boats too?
I cannot swim, so of course.
Yeah, of course. Next trip's coming up, the Dice Tower cruise. I hope we're allowed to go on this cruise. There's all kinds of stuff, COVID, Corona, Omicron is spiking and stuff. So we hope we can do that. That's mid-February. And then Dice Tower West convention is the first week of March. I can't wait for that. Again, another great kind of just relaxing convention. It's just that all the Dice Tower in the BGG cons, they have a little bit of the exhibit hall kind of thing going on, but it's mostly about just socializing and open gaming and, low on the events. And of course, Dice Tower West is in Las Vegas, like my second home out there. So I can't wait to be out there again. And that's it for now on the Buonocore side. Let's get to the event deck, and we've got a lot of stuff. Okay, so this episode, guys, we're only going to do the news, the event deck. We're not going to do strategy and tactics because we got so much. We had to put it all off for the predictions episode.
It's the beginning of the year, and we already have to catch up.
We got to catch up on news, but we got some amazing news here. Gamefound, of course, is something we've been talking about so much, a big competitor Kickstarter. And I think Ignacy put it as one of his predictions on how much. I disagreed. Of course, I'll be right on that one, but we'll see at the end of the year. In the meantime, Gamefound is going to introduce a VAT payment option for non-EU publishers. So what does this mean? And I'm going to read some of the stuff that came out directly from Gamefound. We reported about this on a couple episodes ago that Kickstarter published The Future of Crowdfunding Creative Projects. And it was an article that presented an overview of what the company's going to do for their platform, which included creating an open source protocol on a public blockchain that will ideally create a decentralized version of Kickstarter and their core functionality, which is really weird. It's all this like techno jargon and stuff, right? And we talked about it, like, why are they doing this? And they're going to put it out there and other people can use it and stuff. It was really odd.
In my top 10 most confusing press releases of 2021.
Absolutely. And in response to that, just a couple of weeks later, Marcin Świerkot.
Let me help you. Marcin Świerkot.
There we go. Who's a good friend of Ignacy, the CEO of Gamefound. He posted an article of his own called Our Vision of the Future of Crowdfunding. And in case you doubted that this article was a comeback to Kickstarter's post, here's the second paragraph of that post. Quote, long story short, our vision and plan are not some fancy, trendy buzzwords, but a lot of down-to-earth hard work on details and tools, unquote. So he was just taking a very big shot across the bow of what Kickstarter was doing. And some of the example changes are that they're going to be creating a module that non-EU publishers will be able to use to collect the VAT that they need to for all of the different countries that require you to pay them VAT, right? So it's like, don't quote me on this, 19% VAT in Germany and 21% in Holland, and every country's got these different things, like the States and the United States. but there it's very serious. If you're in the EU, you got to collect it and you got to remit it. And this is a nightmare for non-EU publishers, because then you got to register possibly, and whatever the case is, it's really hard for us to deal with, and it's hard for I like the system better actually than our system, so I'm not saying it's a bad system. It's actually a good system. So they're going to be creating this, and Ignacy, I'm going to tell you right now, if your prediction comes true that they get, I think you said 15% is what they were going to get, 15% of all game publishing
board game category
revenue. This will be the reason, but I don't think this is going to be there soon enough to make it work, if you know what I'm trying to say. So
yeah, so this is interesting, because I talked with Marcin last year when we were preparing for Robinson Crusoe, and he was trying to convince me to go with the Gamefound. Like there was no decision yet, yes. And he was giving us a tour around all the functions of Gamefound. He was trying to convince me how Gamefound is better than Kickstarter. As we all know, in the end, I went for the Gamefound. But this project was already on the table back then. Like he was explaining how they are trying to build the tools to help with the VAT payment for the creators. For us, for portal games, we have it sorted anyway. So it wasn't important for me. So I said, okay, I got the VAT covered. So let's move on to the next functions, the next modules.
Sure.
But he was working on, his team was working on this February, March last year. So still, we have no clue. I have no clue how long it takes him to introduce this. You may be right that it will take months to make it work, but it's not something that he came up with 2 weeks ago. This is something that was in the works for many, many months. And as he mentioned, that they are trying to down-to-earth hard work on details and tools. And the tools is the most important thing. So for all of you creators who are using Kickstarter and using Gamefound, it is good for you to at least check your options, reach Gamefound and see what they have in the offer, check what the different tools they have, because indeed they have lots of things to help creator promote the project or create a project. So yeah, very interesting process. It was like a jab, and then the right hook. Like we are building tools, we have modules for you, we have functionality, and by the way, we are working on the VAT. And that was like a bam. Very interesting. We see David and Goliath fighting, and we will see what will happen.
Yep. A very brief thing. It's a good news that U.S. holiday sales were up 8.5%. And this is across the board. This is not specific to the game industry or anything like that. This is across the board, which is a really big number, 8.5% in a very large economic market. U.S. retail sales in the holiday season from November 1 to December 24 grew 8.5% over 2020 sales, with the spread between online and in-store growth the smallest it's ever been, which is very good, of course, for anybody who owns a store, a physical brick and mortar store. Not going to go too deep into this because it's not specific to our industry, but it's just good news in general to see that the economies overall are growing and are stronger. Wizards of the Coast announces Magic the Gathering collaboration with Post Malone. Ignacy, obviously I'm too old to understand Post Malone's significance in the world. Is this significant to you?
I'm 45, so no. It says in the press release, it says celebrity super fan Post Malone. Maybe he is a fan of Magic the Gathering. Like maybe he's like, I don't know.
Yes, apparently, and that's a thing too. Again, literally, I was like, "Who's Post Malone?" I think I heard the name.
I know Karl Malone. He was playing in Trailblazers, and he was pretty good basket player. So Karl Malone. Ring a bell. Post Malone, not too much.
Yeah, so I had to ask Paula, like, who's Post Malone? And she's like, she knew who he was because she's in touch with culture. But it is very interesting that it quotes here that you'd be hard pressed to find a bigger fan of Magic the Gathering than Post Malone, said Nathan Stewart, head of franchise marketing for WotC. As a fan for years, he knows just how much Friday Night Magic means to players. We're thrilled to collaborate with Posty in ways that will allow his signature style, talent, and love of the game combined in ways fans will never forget. So he's a singer, but that's all I know. But it's a big thing because obviously a lot of the competitive players and the players that go to the Friday Night Magic, they're not certainly my generation, and they're not yours, but they're younger people. A lot of them, get into it. They're out there, playing hardcore Friday Night Magic. So this is actually a bigger thing, and I'm making fun of it, but it's kind of a big thing to get celebrities, any kinds of celebrities, to be part of things like this.
We are basically saying that if Wizards are signing a deal with Karl Malone, it would be less important than Post Malone. And I agree. Okay.
I think that's probably right. So here's one that's interesting. PSI expands their distribution via a deal with CMON. So CMON to distribute PSI titles in Asia and the Middle East. This is kind of weird, right?
This is super weird.
Right. So, okay. So again, to recap, PSI, and that stands for Publisher Services Incorporated. They still to this day always have been the sales agent for Stronghold Games, indie game studios, many of the second tiers companies. It was also for Ignacy for the longest time until he did his own stuff in the US.
But we are still working with PSI.
You still work with PSI to do
Amazon, Barnes and Nobles,
right.
Australia, New Zealand, etc., etc.
Everybody has a different deal with PSI. It's one of those things that you can just say, okay, I just want you to do North American distributors. I just want you to do Amazon. I just want you to do
Absolutely.
Amazon and Barnes and Noble. So you can change your deal and customize. They're very flexible on how you create deals because they know that every company wants to do certain things internally. So in this case, PSI is going to be sending titles through CMON to get to certain Asian and Middle East markets. Let me read a little bit. This is very odd. Publisher Services Incorporated will expand distribution of titles from its publisher clients, like the ones we just mentioned, in Asia and the Middle East through a deal with CMON Asia, the companies announced. Under the new partnership, CMON Asia will act as sub-distributor for PSI in those international markets and provide logistics and sales support. The new deal will strengthen board game distribution infrastructure in those regions, coordinate marketing efforts, and allow for concurrent release dates for individual titles according to the announcement. Publishers whose titles will get expanded distribution in those regions include Indie Game Studios, right? That's Stronghold and Indie Boys and Cards, Bezier Games, Red Raven Games, Roxley Games, Steve Jackson Games, and others. They're mentioning some of the bigger publishers that use PSI, but they deal with literally hundreds. With this partnership with CMON, we expect to accelerate growth by increasing access and improving service levels for customers in Asia and the Middle East. PSI founder and Chief Development Officer Mike Kraus said in a statement. Mike's a great guy. We've been fortunate to have been part of an unprecedented growth in this area of the world, and we want more publishers to be able to access it no matter their size, CMON Asia founder and president David Daust said. So very interesting. So I guess I'm going to extrapolate this. CMON Asia has really great reach to the retailers there. So therefore, they're going to handle, PSI is going to send them stuff and they're going to handle distribution out to the retailers in these basically developing markets. They're game markets that are not nearly as large, right? Certainly the Middle East and points in Asia are not nearly as large as Europe markets, North American markets. Very interesting development. I don't know how the monetization works because that adds another level in there for PSI clients, but I'm sure PSI is going to work closely with them to give people the right margins.
Yeah, we as a Portal Games, we work with CMON Asia, and they are a publisher also in these regions. So they're publishing some of my titles, translating them into Chinese and other languages depending on the license, and releasing them. So with me, they're acting as a publisher. Here we see them as a distributor, and technically we see them as a master distributor because this chain of distribution is just getting longer and longer and longer, more and more companies involved till the game ends on your shelves of your gamers. Very strange, but I have to admit that from our side, from our perspective, we see that CMON Asia is growing like crazy in the past 2 years, and we see our numbers, we see our contracts with them. And they are very, very aggressive in this area. So yeah, this is another news that confirms them. Also, as I said, the PSI signing with somebody else to distribute the games, it was very, very surprising.
Very, very interesting article. More on that, I'm sure. So I like to report on another interesting guy, Scott Thorne. I know him indirectly. He always writes articles for ICV2. He's a game store owner. He is a PhD. He is associated with a university, Southeast Missouri State University. Very smart guy. And he wrote an article on ICV2 that says that there's going to be 3 trends that are going to continue into 2022. And let me see what we can do about getting some of these. First one I'm going to go to is TikTok. He says that although he still doesn't see the appeal of this thing, TikTok, he thinks it's going to become a bigger and bigger thing for our industry. Ignacy, I bet you agree with that, don't you?
Of course, I started to be serious about TikTok in the past few months, and the numbers of these videos are insane. And you would debate, hey, TikTok is only for the younger people. Hey, TikTok is not for my core audience. I don't care. I want my product in front of the eyes of the potential customer. And when I check the biggest TikTokers and when I see the numbers of the views, of the likes, of the comments they have under their videos, this is 100 times more than I see on YouTube. The engagement rate is so high. So of course, some people are making fun of TikTok like they used to make fun of Snapchat and other platforms. At this point, if you have the account on TikTok that is popular, that means that you are reaching hundreds of thousands of people. And if you then have a game with a great IP, like for instance, Asmodee has all these Marvel games and all these Call of Cthulhu games, etc., you are reaching geeks. You are reaching people who love Dungeons and Dragons, who loves Stranger Things, etc., and you will find a new customer. So yes, TikTok, I am believing in that. Yes. And
you get to dance. I think that's great on camera, right?
Unless you actually see me dancing, and this is no longer great. But okay. Yes.
His second trend that he mentions is actually, I'm doing it in opposite order. That's not a big deal. Is nearshoring. Everyone knows what offshoring means. So nearshoring is doing your work, your manufacturing in this case, on your home country, or at least in a country that's closer than China. And he believes that we're actually going to see this reshoring or nearshoring trend because of the big, long supply chain problems that we have seen and logistics issues. Again, I'll agree with his TikTok prediction, and I'm going to agree with this. And it's one of my predictions, right? Sort of that I said that somebody's going to announce they're out of China. They're not going to be producing in China anymore. I cited a different reason for that, but I think that he's right. We're going to see people getting their manufacturing closer to home. Now, that could even mean for a U.S. publisher that they're going to Europe, right? Or they're going to Mexico. But that's the kind of situation, and I think we're going to see that. And I really think that U.S. manufacturing is going to increase significantly coming up.
I put in this top 10 biggest news of the last year. I put the news about the Ludofact investing $11 million in the facility and in the growth. And I would believe in this prediction, in this trend, when this facility is finished. Like, I think we need 1 or 2 more years for this to happen. It is not the decision of the publisher. Oh, I want to do it in my country. If in your country there's a manufacturer and he has free time to produce your game, of course, but everyone in Europe is super busy. All the factories and manufacturers are super overscheduled. So it is not that easy just to want to move out of China. You have to have a chance, and everyone in Europe is working 24 hours, 7 days a week, and there's so many games produced. The market grew. It's difficult.
Right. His third prediction is much harder depending on where you sit in the supply chain. It's called just in time. And just in time is usually used as a manufacturing term, meaning you order your supplies to create your product in a manner such that they arrive and they're used. You don't keep inventory. And Kanban, haha, Kanban, a game, is also the process by which uses just-in-time manufacturing, and it was used incredibly well and still is to this day by the Japanese manufacturers and then adopted across the world by other ones, auto industry specifically. He's saying that this is going to be a big thing in general for customers. He's not addressing publishers here. It does, at least it certainly doesn't show it there. And I'm not sure he means anything more than a given retailer, because for publishers, it's essentially impossible for this to happen because we have to order in quantity. We can't say, well, you know, we think we're going to need 100 games of this title this month and 200 games and then 500 games because we get to we can't order it like that. We have to order several thousand games, put it in our warehouse and pray, or let it go over, you know, over a short period of time. Usually we do that such that it all bleeds out within a year. And if it doesn't, 2 years. And if it doesn't, then we're in trouble. So if he's talking about here retailers ordering it in a just-in-time manner, certainly that will happen because nobody wants to keep inventory in their store, be it an online store, like, you know, where they store it and then they sell it online, or in a physical store where it really hurts to keep inventory, floor space, or in your back warehouse or something like that. Ignacy?
Yeah, I read in a high-level article about how this whole Kanban and just-in-time philosophy destroyed and hurt the business last year because we had logistics problems. We had a problem in the ports with the containers, and so many companies was working on like short stock, not overpay for the warehouse because we can get this product easily once again, and then when there was a problem with it, with transport, this short stock strategy just failed many businesses. And this is exactly what you say. We as a publisher, we cannot work on a short stock. I cannot produce only 3,000 copies and then order them once again 3,000 copies and then once again 3,000 copies, because this free print runs will take me 16 months altogether of producing and shipping to America. So we have to work on a bigger stock because of production process and shipping process takes so long. And the case for the retailers, I think it is also difficult. If the store would like to work on a short stock, if they want to order only 3 copies of Gutenberg because they will reorder, then the game may be sold out. And for the big hits, you prefer as a retailer to have many copies of Gloomhaven, many copies of Catan because you need them. So right. It's a difficult topic. It's of course a great way to lower the cost of the warehousing, but sometimes you need this product in stock.
Absolutely. This next story I cannot love more. This might be my most loved story of 2022.
I agree with you, absolutely.
Yeah, and it has nothing to do with me or my country or things that I technically even can relate to, because the whole British royalty thing is very weird to me. But I love this story. Games Workshop founder, Sir Ian Livingstone, receives knighthood. Now he becomes Sir Ian Livingstone. Like, you know, Elton John and Paul McCartney. Sir Ian, he's a knight now of the British Empire. Oh my gosh. This is via the Queen's New Year Honor List 2022. Ian Livingstone, Games Workshop founder, will now be known as Sir Ian Livingstone, as he was bestowed a knighthood via the Queen's New Year Honor List 2022. Sir Ian Livingstone is a legend in the hobby gaming industry. He co-founded Games Workshop in 1975 alongside John Peake and Steve Jackson, and is responsible for bringing both Dungeons and Dragons and, of course, Warhammer to the European market. Sir Livingstone also co-founded The Warlock of Firetop Mountain with Steve Jackson, which was the first book in the Fighting Fantasy series, as well as White Dwarf magazine. He and Jackson later sold Games Workshop in 1991, and then they went on to found Citadel Miniatures with Brian Ansell. As an investor and board member of Eidos Interactive, he launched Lara Croft Tomb Raider in 1996. In 2009, when Eidos Interactive was sold to Square Enix, he was appointed to the position of life president of Eidos, of which he later resigned from. Sarah Livingston also co-authored Next Gen. This guy's got huge cred within his segment of the game industry, which is amazing. And now this and what he's done in the game industry, because this is what he's done, it's not like he has done other things, is being recognized by the Queen of England.
This is the universe acting right. This is exactly what should have been done. I loved it. When I saw this news, I was like, he deserved that so much. Now he can officially be, he's a knight. He can go to his role-playing group of old guys playing Dungeons and Dragons. And he's like, guys, I'm playing a knight. By the way, I am knight. Perfect. Like I love it, because I said it many times in the podcast, how much I respect and appreciate all these creators from 70s who created the hobby, who created the way of my life living. They created the hobby, and now I can live and work in this hobby. So my respect is huge, and it makes me so happy that they get what they deserved. Yeah. And now he's now a knight, and I bet he has a great time playing Dungeons and Dragons these days.
I assume you've never met him, I assume, right?
No,
I do not know him. And in fact, if you would have asked me who he was, I would not have known. If you would have said
I know I was at the UK Game Expo. I was almost getting his autograph, but of course I was busy because of the work. So yes, I recognize him. I'm a huge fan of Games Workshop. I'm a huge fan of game books. So all these fighting fighters books, I have a couple of them in my collection. So yes, for me, this is a known person.
Does he goes every year? Does he go every year?
I don't know. I was at this particular UK Game Expo. I took a book with me. Wanted to sign it. So he's very active on Twitter, by the way. So he's like he's tweeting more than me and you together combined. Like,
get out of here!
Yeah, he's tweeting like crazy and super lots of fun interaction with fans. So great person, I guess.
I'm gonna follow him. I'm writing this down right now. People just saw me doing it. If you're watching us on YouTube, I am gonna follow him. This gives me yet another reason to go to the UK Games. So I got to meet a knight of the game industry. A knight of the game industry. To me, it's like insane. I love it. And this might be my second best story of the year. Look, we just started. I mean, and this is incredible. So the Nuremberg Toy Fair organizer, the owners of the Nuremberg Toy Fair, have acquired the Essen Spiel fair that we all use and know and love so importantly. And here's the story. Nuremberg Toy Fair organizer Spielwarenmesse, e.g., has acquired the International Spieltage Spiel event in Essen. I know, as Ignacy, don't even try to correct me. The organization's announced. Through this acquisition, Essen Games Fair, quote, survival has been assured, said the announcement. Essen Game Fair will continue to be operated at the Essen Exhibition Center and organized from Bonn by long-term director Dominique Metzler, good friend of both of ours and great individual, and her team. So she's staying around, but they're now the owners, and they're going to be helping this management out. Spielwarenmesse, that's also the name of Nuremberg, for those out there who don't remember those two things. That's the actual name of the Nuremberg Toy Fair. The chair, Florian Hess, joins the team as an additional director. Like all event organizers in the COVID era, the organizers of Essen Game Fair have undoubtedly been stressed over the past 2 years. The show was converted to a virtual in 2020 and took place as a much reduced live event in 2021. So Ignacy, why do I love this so much? First of all, number one, Dominique Metzler and her team, wonderful people, but they're a small team and they throw this largest game convention in the world. And it is, anybody says that it's Gen Con is wrong.
It is absolutely insane when I, after years, finally met the team and discovered this is just a couple of people, I was like blown away. I expected the organization of 20, 30 people working. No, this is like 3 or 4 people.
It's a crazily small number of people. They've done an amazing job, and they've grown it to this crazy point. So I'm so happy for them to get more power behind them to do the work. I'm happy for Dominique, who is a personal friend, and I know that this is part, I guarantee, she didn't tell me, but I can read into this. This is part of her retirement plan, obviously. She's not young, probably my age, older, probably. And so she'll be now able to, at some point after they get it all together, be able to retire, well, and that's wonderful. Give the reins over to Nuremberg, which is an amazingly well-run, from what I've heard, toy fair in Germany, and the two organizations will run both of these things together. And I just think it's great for everybody. And my biggest thing, and I wish I could have put this into my predictions, but we're going to see not big changes in the short term, but over time, we're going to see a lot of changes, I think, to the way the Spiel is run. I think we're going to see more events of different kinds. I think we're going to see open gaming, all the things that a convention has. I think we're going to see put into Essen Spiel over time, not immediately, but I think it's going to become more of a bigger event now that they have more management that they can do that. What do you think, Ignacy?
I think it will be great. I'm not sure if I agree with you on that, but it depends, of course, how much more people will join Essen team. Nuremberg Fair is a B2B event. They are super focused on business convention. So there is no people who know how to run a game session, how to invite the designer to do a signing. But on the other hand, of course, they have now resources to hire people to create great events. For years, Essen was a huge, amazing convention, but it was not convention, it was a fair. You were going there, buying games, going back home. And it differs a lot from Gen Con, that is mostly convention and exhibitor hall. So if in the future we will see Essen changing into more Gen Con, I would love this change. I would absolutely support this. But I'm not sure if we will see it very, very soon. I guess the Nuremberg Toy Fair is B2B company, so they will need to learn how to do that.
Yeah, I just think that they're going to, over time, create this kind of event, because you have to specifically look for something to do once the halls close at 7 p.m. And like with German efficiency, you are thrown out of those halls at 7 p.m. every night. Everybody out.
My first Gen Con was a big shock for me, because of course I only knew Essen. Yes, I only knew how it operates here in Europe. In Essen, when the halls are closed, it's 6 p.m. It's dark, moody, rainy, cold. You just go outside and you think, okay, I want to go hotel and nothing else. You leave Gen Con, the whole city is singing, dancing, the party is all over the city, and nobody is thinking about going to hotel. Absolutely no, everybody is thinking about playing and interacting and having fun. So completely different mood. I don't know if anyone can transport the Gen Con mood to the October Germany, but I hope so.
You know what? I would almost come out of retirement if they said, Buonocore, we need you to figure out how to make Essen more social and fun. Like, let's do this. Oh, I think, but I don't like to work, but that's going to be there.
That would be awesome, but of course, because of the time and because of the darkness, etc., and the weather, it will be more difficult than at Gen Con.
Absolutely. We'll see what ends up happening. All right. We did do a lot of news. There are some more here, but we're going to leave it for next week. In the meantime, let's get all the way down to our playtesting segment. All right, Ignacy. So last week, or the week before that, I asked the question to everybody, do you keep game stats? And if so, what do you keep track of? Who played the game, who won, what were the scores, where do you keep these things? So, and, I had said specifically, I don't do anything. And you gave that very interesting thing that, you have all those game stats from when you had the club and everything. I thought that was a really, really interesting thing, but I don't do any of this. So What do you think? Do most people do it? I mean, what do the people on our
I
guild
checked.
say?
Yes, our guild. Of course, we have geeks in our guild. Of course, we have crazy people. So many of them make notes. Many of you use BG stats. I picked as always 3 answers that I liked. Fabian, Klein, and he ranks everything on Board Game Geek website. I found it fitty, so I'm not using BGG website, but he's using BGG website and he tracks game rounds, time played, locations, players, like everything. But he mentioned the interesting thing. The initial idea behind it was to see how much I play each month and year. Turns out true benefit is that it works like a calendar. Several times a year when some friends visiting us, at some point we start discussing how long it has been since we met. I just ask which game we played and then give the exact date in less than 30 seconds. So he's using this as a chit chat with his friends. Oh, you remember you were here 3 months ago, we played this game, I won, you suck, etc., etc. So this is a great way to remind your victories against your friends. And then we have Bruce, and he uses BG Stats. So this is the app that I'm using, and I'm strongly recommending. It's a very, very good app, BG Stats. And he's done so for a couple of years, Bruce Brown, and he's mentioning something that is confusing. So for me, so I will read it, and maybe our fans will help us understand. Several years ago, I had a BGG Secret Santa who wrote me saying how I should start to rate and log my plays so that others could see what I think about them and how that would help other Santas know my preferences in the future. And I've done so ever since, but I now use my PhD studies to map the data via social networks analysis to visually see who plays with whom, networks within my gaming group, and more. So apparently, this BG app, BG Stats app that I'm using, has some network connections, so he can connect with his other friends and do all the additional ratings and stuff that I don't understand. I don't do it, but apparently there's a lot of features in the app. So maybe we should learn more how to use this app. And the last thing, Peter Woken.
Very big fan. Big fan of us, by the way, and a great guy.
Greetings to you, Peter. Peter says, I just play the games. I feel like it stops the fun when the phones come out to keep track of all the extra stats. I'll just snap a couple of quick photos for social media and move on. Peter, I'm explaining how I do it. We play. When the game is over and somebody's cleaning the table, now I'm pulling my phone and I'm writing down the stats. So I'm not doing it in the game to break the mood, to distract everyone. At the end of the game, I'm just noting down the stats. And Peter, as a bonus, he gave his own prediction. Are you ready for his prediction?
Yes.
A board game company will become a DAO, decentralized autonomous organization. With their tokens, they will share the cost of publishing, including art and graphic design, as well as sharing the profits. They will also use the method to quickly pay royalties to game designers and will probably have NFTs as a part of their core business. How you think about his prediction?
I don't even understand it.
I think it's too early to make like this community-driven company with these different monetizations, NFTs, etc.
Peter's a very, very smart guy.
He may be too smart for our industry.
But it's funny, and I'm gonna make a comment here, very brief though. But Jeff Engelstein came out with a statement that he said NFTs are a scam. Full stop. And he'd explain why they were. So, and I had not done all of the research on what he said, because he created a video with another guy about this. So, wow, I don't even know what to think. I am not part of this NFT thing, of course, yet, and who knows, but it's interesting. The whole thing is very interesting. Peter, we'll see. I wonder if that's going to happen. Ignacy, I think we should make our listeners have a predictions list. Maybe we do that as one of our plates.
That's interesting. That's interesting that they can post these predictions, and then the post that has the most thumbs up, likes, is official community prediction.
I like it. All right, let me do my my three things here. And since I do not track, as we now know, I picked 3 people who also said they do not track. Derek O says, I do not. The idea of keeping stats intrigued me, but I haven't found the disciplines to do it and just want to move on to the next game. I have an app downloaded on my phone that is supposedly easy to use for stat keeping to BGG, which I bet is BGG stats. And oops, I hit the wrong button, of course. So I just lost the whole thing. Hold on.
As long as you're not hitting stop recording, we're fine.
Yeah, that's good. Simon Probst, who's at Lurka, he says, no, I don't. I'm not interested in those stats. And sometimes I find it annoying when somebody from our group needs to do some after game processing and keeps asking for our scores while we do and get ready for other things. Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't find it annoying at all. It's just interesting that people do it. And it's just my thought too. And then there's Kirk W says he's at Corset Maker. No, I guess I just don't have any interest in knowing how often I win, how many players played a game, or how long it takes. In fact, I am the last person you should ever ask about game length. When I'm playing a game, nothing else matters, whether it's 20 minutes or 3+ hours. That's why I love board gaming. It's an escape. Very good. I like that, Kurt. So everybody, by far, the biggest thing was, yes, I do keep stats by far in here, but there are definitely people like me that say, nah, whatever. It's just a game. Let's move on. Cool. Ignacy, I hope you have a good question here for everybody.
I have the best one.
All
Today
right.
is the best one. We have a very strong opening of the year. Great news, great to co-host, and great question. And my question today for you guys is, how did you first discover our podcast? Somebody recommended, you found a post about us on Facebook, and maybe somebody just so that we were nominated for Golden Geeks. Like, how did you learn about the podcast? How did you, maybe Spotify recommended our podcast to you? How did you discover our podcast? Now I'm super eager to find out how you found out about us.
And we, I guess, don't have to answer this one because we created it. So I found out when you said, let's do a podcast at BGG-Con. I don't know, man. What was it? I mean, at this point, I mean, who knows?
Long time ago. Yes,
long time ago. At least 2015, right? It must have been. And
like that. Yep.
And it's been a great run ever since. So right now, Ignacy is going out there. He's going to create a thread for this playtesting episode 223, where we ask you this question too, or only. How did you first discover our podcast? Tell us all about it. And hey, tell us what you think about it too. Why not, right? I assume you like it if you're listening. So please go to our guild and check it out. In the meantime, the final scoring. Thank you so much for listening. Help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they like to get their podcasts, or watch it on the Podfather of Gaming YouTube channel. I hope you do, and subscribe. To ask us questions for our strategy and tactics segment, which will be back next week, you must post them in the correct thread in our guild on Board Game Geek. And to answer our question to you from our playtesting segment, also go to our guild on Board Game Geek and look for the thread with this episode's question. Board Games Insider has a Facebook page, and I've been posting a lot of stuff there. So please like us on Facebook. Also on Facebook, please like Ignacy's page and Stephen's page, which are /PortalGamesUS and /PodfatherGaming. Our websites are portalgamesus.com and podfathergaming.com. Please go there and sign up for our newsletters. Get up to the minute information on what's happening at Portal Games and with the Podfather. On social media, speak directly to Ignacy and Stephen. On Twitter, it's at PortalGamesUS and at Podfather Gaming. Same on Instagram. And the YouTube channels, of course, are Portal Games Movies, Portal Games Gameplays, and the Podfather of Gaming. Ignacy can be reached alone on TikTok, Portal Games US. We hope to see you at an upcoming convention soon in 2022. First one that I'll be at, of course, as I mentioned, besides Dice Tower Cruise. Hopefully I'll see you there. But Dice Tower West in Las Vegas, be there. Let's party and play some games. Board Games Insider is professionally edited by Matthew Jude. Such a great guy. He's from This Game is Broken podcast. Love working with him. But if you'd like him to edit your podcast, please contact him on Twitter or email at thisgameisbrokenpodcast@gmail.com. Also, that great voice you hear doing our intros, outros, and in-between segments. That's Ray Greenlee. he can be contacted to do voiceover work at raygreenleevoiceover.com. Ignacy, that's a wrap. What you got here? You just typed something as a little special little thing at the end. What you put?
You taught me that I need to be prepared, so I got something.
Yes.
Visit portalgamesus.com on Wednesday to learn if Ignacy just began Operation Retirement or what, because something is happening.
What?
And we are going to announce it on Wednesday.
So this Wednesday, when this podcast drops, Wednesday, January 19th, is that right?
Yep.
You're going to make an announcement.
Right before PortalCon, there is an announcement with me, Ignacy, involved.
Wow. Oh, I got to tune in. And it's going to be posted on portalgamesus.com, huh?
Yes, official press release.
An official press release about maybe retirement? We'll find out. He's going to be very close-lipped until then. I'm not even sure I'm going to ask you after the podcast. I think maybe I will. We'll see. Anyway, thank you all for listening in or watching. I hope some people there are watching. We're getting questions, by the way, on my YouTube channel too. It's been great. Take care, everybody. We'll see you in a week. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.